What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. After Sound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning, so come by and say hello. All right, guys, well, we have the SPS staking multiplier for ranked battle rewards going live. We have the post today, and the SPS staking requirements, which aren't really requirements, at least they're not hard requirements, will be going live in 2 days on this week's maintenance window, which again was pushed to Thursday, July 6th for the 4th of July holiday. So exciting times ahead. There's a lot to digest in here. I don't want to read the entire thing to you, but I'm just going to cover the main portions and kind of give commentary as we go along. So you can see here that it is going to go live on Thursday, July 6th during the next release window. It is going to be replacing the collection power or CP requirements, and instead they'll be implementing the reward-based multiplier based on the amount of SPS you have staked. So they're saying, and this is Matt, I'm assuming who's posting, or Matt who put it together, but while this doesn't yet achieve the full vision described in the original white paper, it is nevertheless a major step in the direction. This is an important line here. For nearly the past 2 years, players have been able to earn SPS and other rewards from ranked battles without the need to have any SPS themselves. And while many players chose to hodl their SPS earnings, many have not, as there was no penalty or negative impact from selling. So as we go along with this, one of the big things that I'm hoping for with SPS staking requirements is that it may not increase the demand on SPS and therefore increase the price, but if it could slow down the sell pressure, because many people want or need to start collecting SPS in order to start earning at whatever level they're trying to get to, that could have a huge benefit, especially for a lot of the bot farm accounts in the lower leagues, lower levels that haven't needed this yet. They've just needed a couple of cards, enough to get to the higher levels, enough CP to get to maybe silver, and just farm like crazy. So that's going to be a huge win, I think, for the game overall. It's coming 2 years after the white paper, and it's not even the full implementation yet. But, as they say, better late than never. So they go on to say this obviously has had a negative impact on the economy overall and ecosystem, which is why it's so important and exciting to replace the collection power system, which has been easily circumvented in the past. More specific details are below, so let's actually jump there. So they go into the math here behind the whole thing. So we're going to get the details and formulas. We won't dig in too deep into that, but they say here, first and foremost, the removal of CP requirements for ranked battles means that there was no longer anything preventing players from moving up to higher leagues and tiers if they're able to obtain a high enough rating. So if a player is able to win matches and earn a high enough rating to get into a particular league or tier, then they will be able to move up. So I was talking about this because this came out on the live stream earlier today, but one thing that I think will need to be looked at and amended is what happens with win trading and potentially leaderboards. Now, win trading shouldn't really matter. Like as we go, as we go through the game here, or as we go through the rest of the season or through any season really, if a card or it's not a card, but if an account doesn't have the cards or the SPS in order to be at whatever level, they're not going to earn any rewards with every single battle that they play. But you could make it up to the top because now, all these like level 1 cards, for example, they could just bot farm, win trade with one another all the way up to 3,700 or 4,300, whatever it is for Champ 1. And so if you're able to make it to Champ 1, now all of a sudden you have these level 1 accounts or, basic level accounts that are dominating up there because they just keep playing against one another and winning against one another. Now, is that actually feasible? Will that happen all the way up in Champ? Probably not, but I wonder where we'll land in terms of the lower levels, right? So lower leagues, I should say. So diamond, silver, gold. But, hopefully the team is keeping a close eye on this. And if anything, I would say that this would probably be a good time to address the leaderboard issue because we've been talking about the 7 million DEC printed per season or, roughly 15 million DEC per month that is still adding a lot of inflation to DEC. So if they can find a way to change that around and make it so that it's less appealing in that way. I don't know what the solution is, but I do know that we need a bit of a revamp on leaderboards, and this would be a good time to start thinking about that and maybe even implement something. So I did say on the live stream that I would be okay with them removing leaderboards for a season or two if they need a sprint or two to figure out what needs to be done and then implement it. But again, we'll have to see how pervasive this ends up being with all of the potential bot farms, win trading exploits that do happen in the game. So you can see here, they're still going with the rating cubed. Now, there's a bunch of math here that I'm not going to jump into. Just know that it's the same as what they were what they showed many months ago, or maybe a couple months ago when Matt was on the town hall. What they've changed though is they've made it they've kind of put it out as a multiplier, which I think makes a lot more sense. It makes it much more easy to understand from a new player standpoint, or even from our standpoint. So there'll be a multiplier applied to the modified reward points. And let me see here now. There's another thing that I wanted to cover. So, okay, the more SPS you have staked or the more delegated you have, the higher your multiplier will be, up to 13.3x. So you can get a 13.3x multiplier. Now, here's the important part. The current reward points being given out now, without this SPS requirement for Rank Battle Wins, before the change goes live, is equivalent to the 10x multiplier. So we have all, if you've been thinking about it, or if you think about it from this perspective, we have all been getting a free 10x multiplier on our SPS earnings. So that is going to change if you do not have the 10x amount. So speaking of which, you can see here, these numbers, right, under the 10x column should look very similar to what was presented a couple of months ago, or maybe a month and a half ago, whenever Matt was on the town hall. This should look very similar, the numbers here. So the way that it's being framed though is that, if you don't have any SPS, you will get like the basic minimum amounts, but for every SPS that you have staked, that increases your multiplier. And of course, I think we're all going to want to try and get to at least that 10x portion, simply because that's what we're used to earning now. And then for anybody that wants to be an overachiever, myself included, I definitely will want to jump up above that and get into the 13.3x multipliers. So, as somebody for myself who plays in like Diamond 2, Diamond 1, you can see here that 128,000 SPS, which I do have, so I'll be able to thankfully get the 10x multiplier on Diamond 2, but then jumping just to 12x, which means a 20% increase, I'd have to go more than 3x from where I'm at right now, from 128 to 391. So it is a bit of a stretch, and I wonder where this is going to play out, because maybe I decide to, I have a couple options here, right? Maybe I decide to delegate my SPS to alt accounts that might need it. Maybe I decide to rent it out, because that's going to be going live too. And actually, let's go ahead and cover that here. So at the same time the SPS multiplier changes are released, they are also going to be releasing a simple market for this. Now keep in mind, Xbot has had a market for this. I have not actually used it, although I've heard nothing but good things about the Xbot marketplace for SPS, but this is going to be built in game, and it's going to be designed with a like a bid-based system. So they're doing a very MVP version of it. Important things to note. So anyone looking to rent out their extra SPS will be able to, let me start up here. So it'll be a bid system. So anybody who's looking for SPS will be able to submit a bid, how much they're willing to pay for how much SPS. And the amount in DEC per SPS per day they are willing to pay for it. Then anybody looking to fill those bids, so people who have SPS that are looking to rent it out, can go through and rent out the SPS. Now, all SPS rentals will be for 7 days, which is the minimum length of time required before the delegation can be removed. This means that when a player submits a bid for an SPS delegation rental, they will need to pay for 7 days upfront, and whenever that does get fulfilled, the renters do get that payment upfront. Now, they do have some caveats here. In order to get the system built and released as quickly as possible, it was kept very simple. Again, MVP, right? Minimum viable product. So bids will need to be filled completely. There's no partial bid. So however much SPS you are looking for, you need to put that much, and then you need to find somebody who's willing to give that much. So if you have a large amount, for example, you may want to split it up into, smaller chunks that make it easier for renters to give out to rentees. And then let's see, if players would like to rent SPS for longer than 7 days, they'll need to submit additional bids every 7 days. Now, here's the part that I'm not a fan of, but hopefully this will change soon. So when a staked SPS holder fills a bid, the specified amount of SPS will automatically be delegated to the player who submitted the bid, but it will not automatically be undelegated after the 7-day rental expires. It'll be up to the SPS owner to undelegate. So I can just imagine a lot of people not paying attention to this 7 days after. And so I don't know, I don't know if the team is going to necessarily focus on this. Their final paragraph here talks about how third-party marketplaces might create tools that'll make this a little bit easier or automate that. So maybe we don't have to deal with it if you use Splex, if you use PeakD, or maybe any of the other services out there. But ultimately, even with these caveats, I'm happy that this is going live. It'll be something built in game, and ultimately, I'm looking forward to this. I think that it can have a significant impact, especially on a lot of the lower level bots. Now, you think through all the bots in bronze that are trying to earn, or maybe not even trying to earn. They'll all need to have 460 SPS now, right, at the very minimum, in order to get what they were earning before. And then, of course, for a lot of those like level 1 cards or those bronze level decks that jump up into silver, all of a sudden, this goes up exponentially somewhat in silver, where it's like if you're doing everything on one account, it's, I don't want to say it's not a lot of money, but going for after 1900, 5000, 11,000 SPS, it's much more attainable if you're doing it just under one account versus if you're doing it across bunches of accounts that are all trying to get into the same league, right? Silver 3, Silver 2. So we'll see how this actually shakes out. Again, I don't know that it necessarily deters bot owners, but it does remove a lot of the farming that does happen. And so I'm excited, for example, like in Diamond, if there's a lot of people stretching up, a lot of people who are playing in Gold that stretch up into Diamond that no longer will be receiving the full rewards, that could make the Diamond pool a little bit bigger. Likewise, the same thing could be for Gold, the same thing could be for Silver, and actually the same thing could be for Champion. I wonder if there'll be any Champion players who don't have the SPS and would rather jump back down into Diamond 1 where they do have the SPS. So we'll see where things shake out. For me, I do spend most, if not all of my time in Diamond, unless I'm able to jump up into Champ, which would only be Champ 3. And then even then, I don't even play much in Champ 3, and I don't have the SPS to get the 10x multiplier. But I'm going to go ahead and leave it there. That's all I got in this video for you guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Otherwise, I will catch you all in the next one and see you around the game. Take care.